with this as well. So we're actually a bit ahead of schedule right now, so let's go ahead and take a look at another Behind the Bumpers interview, and let's go ahead and do this one with team number 6574. Let's take a look. Hey everybody, it's Tyler here, once again checking out the Lakeshore event. Checking with team number 6574, Fair coming in from Whitewater, Wisconsin. We're going to be taking a look at this really cool robot here, talking about intake, spin dexter, shooter, and more. And to help me out talking more about this robot, I have Andrew, Lauren, Eliza, and Jazmin. And this robot here, lots of cool feedback coming through it. Of course, the spin dexter, all this and more coming up on Behind the Bumpers.
Giving you a voice.
Making it loud our own way.
Welcome to the fun.
So take us through on this robot here, starting with the intake, some of the mechanical design that's gone into it, and any iterations you might have had as well.
Okay, so we started off, we have this 4-bar linkage to deploy the intake pneumatically. We went through a lot of different iterations in terms of the geometry and position of all these rollers, as well as adding these things just to make it intake as smoothly as possible. In terms of our design, we really just focused on any power cell we touch, we have it, it's ready to shoot, it's ready to go. That went into the design of our spin dexter, everything in here all throughout it.
So is this a 2020 modified or 2021 robot?
This is not too much different from 2020, at least in this system here.
But the whole robot's a 2020 bot.
It is,
original
yes.
base. So looking, of course, this year, by the way, too, you guys were finalists in your group. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But as we go into your spin dexter here, I'd love to hear about anything you may have modified on your robot as well. So talk about more about your spin dexter.
Sure, the spin dexter was one of the things we changed the most. In fact, the original design as of the 2020 season had 5 different segments in here to kind of index the balls as best as possible. We ended up changing that around. We found that this works better. They'll flow in there nicer. They won't get stuck on anything. We have this piece in here, that clear piece of polycarb that just kind of helps knock them into place as this spins. We'll spin the intake and the spin dexter just freely, and it'll all fall into place really nice with the way we got it designed.
So it really sucks those right in there, and you notice that intake came in right away, so you're not popping out any power cells, right?
Yeah, that's right. It holds on to them.
This question on your spin dexter around here. So we've seen kind of a variation of teams. Some that have this open concept like you do, and then there's teams that kind of have like the dividers in between as they go in. From your end here, what made you go with that open concept?
Well, as I said, we originally went with the more divided concept, and through testing, we just found out that would end up getting a lot of power cells stuck, a lot of power cells not being in that place. So we ended up switching around. We had a lot of different prototypes with various levels of division. At one point, we just had little paintbrush type deals in here that kind of barely kept them separated, and we found that we didn't need that. They would still spin around just fine, and they wouldn't get stuck in anything this way.
Let's move up next into your shooter. So tell me about what kind of like kicker mechanism you have, or how do you get the power cell up into your shooter? And let's dive a bit more into this huge shooter that you have here, of course, turret, and looks like adjustable hood.
Sure. So if Elijah, you want to pop up the hood, or Reilly, you can see down into here, you can see this Omni wheel. We use the Omni wheel because it allows balls to move past here if we're just spinning it and intaking. And then as we spin this, it'll bring them up into here. There's the other wheel back here as well, and it'll kick it up into here. It is centered on this turret, so no matter what angle we're at, it'll feed in there consistently.
So can you tell me a little bit more about the flywheels that you've decided on here? Because it looks like you've added a couple onto here in addition to these Fairline wheels as well.
Okay, so obviously these are the main shooter wheels, and then these are about 2.5, 3 pounds of steel each. So that just allows us to maintain inertia, have a really consistent shot, even if we can fire off all 5 balls very fast, and that just keeps the consistency as we do that.
And then Lauren coming in here, anything from an electrical standpoint that you want to cover as we go through this? Quite a few pneumatics as well, too.
Yeah, so with our wiring for the turret, we had to, so it can actually move, we had to wire it around, and then we have this sleeve of wires that it can move with it, and then it's in the sleeve so it doesn't get caught on anything. So we had to we redid that a few times. just to get it perfect, and it can move pretty far now, which is good for shooting.
So Elijah, as this climber comes into play here, I just watched a match, very effective climber that you have as well. So tell me a little bit more about this multi-stage climber that you have.
So this is actually like the exclusive, like completely brand new part we have this year. So last year our old climber, it didn't work, and we got it to work eventually, but it was really slow. So our goal this year was to make it much more consistent and much faster. So this one uses a fish tape to push the elevator up. So this spool spins the elevator up, and then we just spin it back to climb. And I can demo that here for you.
So these are just going to hook straight up, right? These don't turn off. These don't come off or anything like that. Okay, fair enough. So wrapping up on this robot here, Jazmin's going to be stepping in, talking a little bit more, on the feedback on here that you're getting from these LEDs. So tell me a little about some of the programming that's gone into this and actually what they're telling you.
Okay, so we have these lights here to help our drive team. They change colors depending on what the robot is currently doing, whether it's climbing, whether it's shooting, or intaking.
Anything else from a programming standpoint, from like your autonomous or anything like that you want to cover?
Our shooting is pretty accurate due to the limelight. We get to calibrate it pretty well, and the shooting process of just having commands follow. Our shooter wheel spins up, then the turret spins, and the feeder feeds it into it, and we have a pretty accurate shooting because of it.
Well, once again, 6574, Ferrodermis coming in. One of the a team that's I actually really think has broken out since their first year, just a couple of years ago. Looking really good here at the Lakeshore Qualifier. So good luck at this event. I can't wait to see your robot and how it performs in future ones. Thanks for taking the time.